Today's the 4th of July, so if you're wondering why I'm dressed like a buffoon, that's why. And if you hear some booms in the background, that's why. But the 4th of July means that we're getting ever closer to the Seattle Mariners hosting the MLB All-Star Game. And some of the Mariners moments in All-Star games throughout history are some pretty good ones that have stood the test of time. Starting out with one that, honestly, who the heck could forget it, and that is Ichiro hitting an inside the park home run at the Giants Stadium. This is one of the most fun moments I can remember in All-Star game history, and it is shown every year around the All-Star break. It was the 5th inning in 2007 when Ichiro crushed a ball to right center field that eventually caromed off the wall in such a weird way and allowed Ichiro, of course, who was very, very fast, to get around the bases in record time. Then of course there was 2014 where the King took the mound for the Mariners. Felix started the All-Star game in Minnesota in 2014, obviously a really good year for him. It was Felix's 6th All-Star appearance, which broke Randy Johnson's record for the most All-Star appearances by a Mariners pitcher. In his start he did strike out too, and Felix looked like the king on the mound that we all knew he was. Of course, we have to talk about Ken Griffey Jr.'s home run derby where he hit the warehouse in Camden Yards in Baltimore. Now, the home run derby, of course, isn't exactly, the All-Star game. It's the day before. But with that being said, the home run derby for Griffey was so much fun to watch. Griffey won 3 home run derbies, including 1994, 1998, and 1999. But of course, the warehouse that he hit at Camden Yards was one of the biggest and most impactful moments in Mariners home run derby history, in my opinion. He was the first Mariner to make it to Utah Street. Of course, now Sam Haggerty, of all people, and Cal Raleigh have also made it, but his plaque forever stands on Utah Street next to Camden Yards. Of course, we can't talk about the home run derby without talking about Julio Rodriguez in 2022, the rightful winner of that home run derby. However, he was beat out by Juan Soto, but a rookie going up against Juan Soto, putting up 81 home runs in this sort of new format home run derby was so cool to see, and it really did put Julio Rodriguez on the map for all of Major League Baseball. And speaking of home run derby, just a friendly reminder that on Friday you can go to Occidental Park in Seattle and participate from 2 p.m. to 7 p.m. in the Simply Seattle Home Run Derby. I'm going to be there taking some hacks and taking some video. Make sure to head up there and you can win 2 tickets to the MLB Home Run Derby on Monday. Who could forget Randy Johnson throwing up and in to John Kruk? One of the biggest bloopers in 1993 and in All-Star Game history, in my opinion, was of course Randy throwing a ball above John Kruk and then hitting him with a few sliders after that when John Kruk just looked like a fool. It was really interesting to watch. Of course, both guys were heavy competitors, and it is, of course, the All-Star Game, but John Kruk looked so silly swinging at that last slider from Randy Johnson. I would never in my life want to step in against that pitcher. In July of 2017, Robinson Cano played a pivotal role in the All-Star Game that year. In the top of the 10th inning, Robbie Cano hit a solo home run in Miami to give the American League the lead, and they went on to win that game 2-1, earning Robbie some MVP honors in that game. He joined Ken Griffey Jr. and Ichiro Suzuki as the only 2 players to have ever been named MVP of the All-Star Game. He was also the first Mariner to homer since Ichiro had his inside the park home run, but he was not the last Mariner to homer. In 2018, there was a huge final vote for Jean Segura, where a bunch of the Mariners fans flexed on the rest of the American League and showed that they wanted Jean in that game. It was really cool to see Jean get voted into that game, and the Mariners did some really cool things with the people that voted the most, me happening to be one of them, and we all got to go down on the field and meet Jean. And in that All-Star game, Jean went ahead and hit a home run that at the time gave the American League the lead before Edwin Diaz blew the game later. But it was so cool to see the guy that we had all voted for get up there and homer to give the American League the lead and feel like we helped make a difference in that game. Jean, of course, was not going to end up being the MVP of that game because, well, he, in the end, didn't win the game for them. But that was one of the biggest and best home runs I can remember in the All-Star Game, at least as a Mariners fan, in a really long time. And with Luis Castillo being the only Mariner in the All-Star Game right now, there's another player that is making a case for themselves to get pushed into the MLB All-Star Game in 2023. We have that video on the screen right now. I appreciate you guys watching this one, and go Mariners. Happy 4th.